So it's been some time since we've heard more about Ubisoft Singapore's upcoming pirate epic Skull and Bones, and while I'm chomping at the bit to hear more information on the game, it's been great to see that the community around it is growing. More and more I'm noticing folks hear about this game and equally not be able to wait to hear more. It's encouraging to see. Now, over the past few weeks, I've kind of been going over everything we know about Skull and Bones so far to try and see if there's some secret piece of code to crack in order to unlock another little nugget of info. Equally, I've just been reminding myself about what we know so far. One aspect of Skull and Bones that I've seen come up in interviews a few times but have never really seen explained is the hunting grounds. Now, if this is the first time you've heard of the hunting grounds, if you look at the official Ubisoft forums, this is what the devs say about them. Explore a shared open ocean, a dynamic ecosystem that reacts to your actions and challenges your ascension. Choose your path, engage in combat solo, or team up with other players to take down vicious predatory factions and well-defended convoys. The rewards is then yours to share, or to steal if you are willing to face the consequences of betrayal and become a target to other players. There are even rumours of horrifying dangers lurking beneath the surface. Now, even with that description, it's still kind of quite vague. So over the past week, I've been putting my thinking cap on, brewing even more tea than usual, and trying to figure out what on earth these hunting grounds are. Now, it occurred to me that occasionally we see Ubisoft teams learn from and borrow mechanics and systems that work in each other's games. Sync towers in Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. The operator system that we see in Rainbow Six Siege kind of being introduced into For Honor to ensure a steady stream of new content to the game and so on. The only other open world Ubisoft game that mixes together elements of PvP and PvE in the game world that you play in without having to go into a different menu, etc. is The Division. Now, I remember reading in interviews that the developers of Skull and Bones were equally hoping to meld together elements of PvP and PvE into Skull and Bones. And this made me think of the Dark Zone. Now, if you don't know the Dark Zone, it's the PvP area in The Division where agents can find the best available loot. Except for when you party up with friends, you'll only ever meet other players in hubs or in the Dark Zone. Some missions even require visits to a Dark Zone. And any player you encounter in the Dark Zone is potentially hostile. There are no safeguards, no guarantees you'll get out alive. For me, I think this is what the hunting grounds will be in Skull and Bones. We know that there's going to be a single player element in Skull and Bones, which I think will basically put players into the world filled with AI ships, merchants, etc. for us to hunt down, and we can invite our friends to join us and create a fleet to go around and pillage loot. But if we want the best loot to upgrade our ships with, we'll have to enter the hunting grounds. Now, in this, or these if there's multiple of them, areas, we'll come across merchant vessels with much better loot, but we'll equally come up against much more heavily equipped AI vessels, purposefully built to take us down, and will equally more than likely come into contact with other players who will have the ability to attack our ships as well to take the loot we have. What I think could happen is that no loot you capture in the hunting grounds will be safe, or more accurately, be added to your inventory and be able to be used to upgrade your ship unless you can safely get it out of the hunting grounds and out into open waters again. What's more is that if you read the end of the hunting grounds description, the rewards is then yours to share or to steal if you are willing to face the consequences of betrayal and become a target to other players. What they could be hinting at is that if you are in a party with other players when you enter the hunting grounds, you may be able to stab your fellow party members in the back and take all of their loot. Doing so, however, obviously makes you a target to your not so long ago allies. I think this could be an interesting idea, and from what little I know about The Division, I don't think you had that option in that game. For me, I think this makes the most sense from what we know so far. It could be possible that you'll meet other players while out in the open waters, but I wouldn't be surprised if you aren't able to attack them unless you're in a hunting ground area. Almost as if all ships are adhering to some pirate code of honor and won't attack one another unless they meet in a hunting ground. I equally think, much like the Dark Zone in The Division, where some quests are only completable by entering a Dark Zone, if you want to take part in some unique PvE quests, you'll have to take the risk to enter a hunting ground. Like I said at the start, this is of course only a theory as to what the hunting grounds are. We'll have to wait and hear more from the developers, which, given the fact we're on the run up to E3, I don't think it'll be too long before there's more news on the game. In the meantime though, what do you think? Do you think my theory could be right? Let me know down in the comments below. But in the meantime, if you want to be kept up to date with all of your Skull and Bones news, do be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I try to upload a new Skull and Bones video whenever I can. But in the meantime, folks, have a great week, and I'll of course speak to you all soon.